Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of the Our America channel. My name is Thornton Prayer. I'm a citizen, I'm a patriot, and I care very deeply about the United States of America. I've been talking in a set of videos about the nature of politics, the reality of politics. So today, I'd like to continue and talking about how I think a lot of people make the equivalence in their mind of how they run their household with the federal government or the state government for that matter, excuse me, or any government. And I'm going to say that the government, how it runs its business financially and operationally, is not quite the same as your household. I completely agree with people that you don't want the government to get out of control and run massive deficits for a long period of time. That's not a good thing to do. We can't do that as individuals in our households. It doesn't work. But I will say that there is one difference, and that is that sometimes it's a necessity for the government to run a deficit. You see, you and I, we don't negotiate with foreign countries. We don't have a military to support. We don't have issues with citizens across the United States that we may never be in contact with and have to deal with their issues. Natural disasters happen. You and I as individuals can't address a natural disaster. Only government entities can really handle that. I know some people say the private sector or charities can do that. That's not true. That's just not true. So I'm going to argue that expecting that you can map and model how you run your household to how the government operates just isn't realistic. Trust me, during World War II, the federal government ran a massive deficit. Why? Because it had to. To think that, we've got to balance the budget while we're trying to fight off the Nazis and the Imperial Japan, you would have been laughed out of the United States if you had said that then. So periodically, that's just what happens. Now, I know some politicians and some ideologues would tell you, the federal government can't run a deficit, it's immoral and all this sort of stuff. You know what? A lot of those same people have no problem running deficits if it benefits them personally. So you should kind of look at them with a sideways glance when people like that say those sorts of things. Understand that the government is not designed necessarily to be an economically efficient organism. It has other responsibilities. I would argue that the role of the government is to try to provide for the commonwealth, for the common good. Now, we can have debates about that, which is what we should do in a democracy like ours. But the problem is that I think when a lot of us have, like I said, an unrealistic expectation that the government is supposed to operate just like we do in our households, it doesn't apply. And when you think about it, even households, individuals have to go into debt in order to accomplish certain things. So we have to understand that the government does that as well. We don't want to let the government get out of control when it comes to spending, and especially debt and deficit spending. So I want to be clear about that. But to try to think that, I can't go into debt, therefore the government can't go into debt, we're not the same thing. Like I said, the government has responsibilities that you and I cannot undertake. We can't undertake military campaigns and provide for national defense as a household. It doesn't apply. Likewise, like I say, if a big natural disaster hits, we can't say as individuals, I'm going to clean up this mess if a big hurricane hits or tornadoes destroy a certain area of the country or a big earthquake hits. So we have to, in some sense, rely on the government. By the same token, we have to demand the government be effective and be economically, let's say, sensible. But we're not the same things. Now, I know a lot of us may disagree with that. If you want to say something about that, that's why I have a comment section below. So I would be very interested to hear what you have to say. But I want to say in wrapping up here that governments are accountable to us as citizens, but they are also different from us. And if we understand that, it can go a long way for helping us deal with all the frustration and anger that people have about the government. This is just a different ball game. Treat it that way, and then you can have some understanding and also have some ability to do something about it. Thank you for listening. Again, I welcome any thoughts and comments below. This is today's edition of the Our America channel.